All right. Okay, so yeah, those three gotta break it up there, guys. You're gonna separate up. Yeah, Gary, you're in charge.
It's their fault.
Yeah. So sorry, guys, I'm keeping tight control over our ex-president. So anyway, welcome everybody. Welcome to the GANYC monthly meeting for February. I'm Emma Gonzalez, the president of the Guys Association. GANYC, welcome everybody. Happy Lunar New Year, Year of the Tiger, and we are very pleased to be here at the China Institute. Now, the agenda has been posted by now, and everyone should have a copy as well. Is there any new business anyone needs to add for discussion? Otherwise, we'll use the agenda as is. Anything from our Zoom attendees? I don't see anything from here from our in-person attendees. Okay, so, all right, so let's approve the agenda as it stands, and we'll get started. So, so welcome everyone. Welcome to the China Institute. I just have a few announcements to make. First of all, our COVID protocols that we have posted, and they changed. Not really changed. They've been slightly tweaked, shall I say, right through April. We are requesting that all attendees to in-person meetings be fully vaccinated and boosted, unless you have had COVID in the past, the 90 days prior to the meeting, and you can bring a medical note to that effect, okay, because you've got your own little extra natural boost. So yeah, anyone who's had COVID recently, I hope you're feeling better, and I hope nobody's having any long COVID symptoms. Yeah. It's not, my husband is just starting to get more of his sense of taste back, and he had it last March. So it is not nice, especially for any time. All right, so COVID protocols, we're going to keep that in mind, that we do ask everyone to be fully vaccinated and boosted. And this is for everybody's health and safety, but any mandates or any rules or regulations set by a venue, those will take priority. Those will always take priority. Now, a couple more things. The WFTJ, the World Federation of Tourist Guides Associations, they are doing a hybrid conference in Madrid, in Spain, and that starts on February 7th. I believe they're starting it, February 6th. We have a delegates meeting. But there's also a virtual portion. Okay, I'm sorry, there's a little bit of feedback. There's a virtual portion to that. Registration needs to be done by February 4th for the virtual portion of the WFTGA hybrid convention. Okay, so the WFTGA hybrid convention, that is in February, and that is when we will be voting on the next location for the World Federation Conference. So there's a delegates meeting that will be on Sunday, and then there will be voting, I believe, on Tuesday or Wednesday about the new location. Michael Dillinger, who has recently been elected as president of NFTG, of the National Federation. So applause to Michael Dillinger. Michael Dillinger, who's now the president of the National Federation of Tourist Guides Association. Michael will be our voting representative for the United States. I will be attending the conference as the official GANYC delegate, and Jim Carr will be attending as the official delegate from the Guild in Washington, D.C. GANYC and the Guild are both full members of WFTJ, as well as being members of NFTJ, which is also the overarching member. The education day at the conference is February 7th, and that is free. The professional day is on February 10th, and that is 60 euros. But you need to register by February 4th. I posted the announcement onto the GANYC Facebook group, but I'll also have an announcement emailed to the membership as an email blast with everybody about that. Other fun, exciting news, the awards ceremony. I'm looking at Matt Baker right now. The awards ceremony will be on February 21st at 8 p.m. Tickets are $5. It's a bargain. You can't leave that in your apartment in New York City without spending $20. So $5 is a deal. You can watch in your jammies or your yoga pants. I watched it last year and my son he was really getting to making cocktails. So I had my cocktails. I was very relaxed. It was very, very nice. We have snacks, the whole shebang. So it's going to be really fun. And that's going to give us an update on that tonight. Last but not least, make sure to renew your license. You all should be getting the license renewal paperwork. I just received mine yesterday. A nice big fat envelope. You can fill it out and send it back in. You can also renew online. Now, Kit was having, Kit, one of our new board members, one of our members at large, she was having problems getting through online to renew. So she called the office and had a very nice person, a live body, helping her out. She posted that number, but I can give you that number. It's 212-436-0264. Okay, so 212-436-0264. If you need to call to get your license renewed, if you have a problem doing it online, if you have problems with your account online, they will see you at the office, but you have to make an appointment ahead of time. Yeah, Billy?
I just did this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the office. I made the call yesterday. They called me back within an hour after I left them the message. Went into the office today at 9 a.m. appointment. I was out of there by 9:15.
Okay, so yeah, so Billy, if anybody, it's the office right down here on Broadway. Yeah, the office right down here on Broadway. So Billy just said he called, made a 9 o'clock appointment. He was there and done at 9:15. Super efficient, super helpful. Gary.
I did it online and the site is confusing, but once you get it, you're done. But
Yeah.
You save a stamp, but
Yeah.
it is confusing.
Yeah, and so Gary was just reiterating the site is a little confusing, but it can be done. It can be done. Tony.
Yeah, they had, I couldn't figure it out, and I sent them an email. They replied, gave me the instructions on how to do it. And I had put on the Facebook page that if anybody needs the instructions, they can contact me and I'll be happy to send it to them.
Okay, yeah, so Tony DeSanta will be happy to email anybody the instructions he received when he emailed them and got an answer right away. So it seems like they're really be on their game and helping everybody out, which is a great thing. So yeah, so you do need to renew your license. Remember, you have to have a valid license to be a GANYC member. So that's really all I have in terms of announcements. I just hope everybody is staying safe, everybody's staying healthy. Everybody's trying to stay dry because it's so slushy and mushy out there right now. We're going to get some more weather coming in. And just as an aside, because I'm looking at Beth right now, there's some really cool seagulls in Central Park. And bald eagles. So hopefully I'll see you guys out in Central Park, like at the reservoir. So if you see earnest birders at the reservoir, you can either run in and join them or avoid them like the plague. Okay. This sort of mixed use. What was that?
We don't do that.
Oh, no, we don't do that. We don't avoid people. All right. So here we go. Any other, I don't think I have any other announcements to make, nothing else coming from the board. So we're going to be having an industry partner vote. You all should receive notification about Beams, a virtual tour platform, Beams, B-E-A-M-Z, beams.live is the website. And so you will have received notification about that. You will get your ballot to vote for the industry partner via wild apricot sometime later tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. I believe actually Jeremy will send it out tonight. And so then you just vote online. All right, so I hope everybody did their homework. Is anyone here have any comments about Beams that they would like to say? Gary?
I'm in the process of putting something on there, getting something on their site. It's live, and you could do a virtual outside with a gimbal and the whole bit, or you could do it from like if you ever, I know a lot of people here do New York Adventure Club stuff. And you can pretty much do it the same way, PowerPoint presentation.
Okay, all right.
It sounds like a great idea.
Okay, so Gary saying it sounds like a great idea. He's in the process of putting some of his things up on their website. Dave.
I did watch one of their presentations. I don't know if you can hear me on Zoom. Should I do the mic or not?
Sure. Okay, read them.
Hello, everybody, and those at home. I did in fact go to one of the Beams presentation,
And it is a live stream. Okay. It is a live stream, and there's a dialogue box on the side, and you can ask questions, and they walk around and they read the questions. I've watched a very nice presentation in Japan. There's a monkey park, and the monkeys are in the onsens, the steamy water is great fun. But the woman, she was addressing the questions on the spot. So it is live in that respect, and you can push a little icon of a money bag and tip the person also. It doesn't say the amount, but it does say in the dialog box that you have tipped. So if you want to see your name as a tipper, it does come up. And then it says, Joey123 has entered the chat, Sally XYZ has entered the chat, things like that. And if you are good, people will tip. I mean, it's the old rule, if you're, you can be great and people may not tip, but if you're not good at all, you can pretty much count on not tipping. But Beams is good, and it's pretty productive that way, I think.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave. All right, yeah, it's always good to hear from people who've actually used it. So it seems like Dave enjoyed his experience following a tour with Beams, and Gary's doing pretty well putting them on there. Okay, so you'll receive that. When you receive that, that is when you need to vote. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring up Bob Gilbert, who's co-chair of the Industry Relations Committee, to introduce tonight's speakers. Thank you, Bob.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the China Institute. Happy Lunar New Year. So I want to start with thanking the China Institute and particularly Jeremy Willinger, because they've been incredibly gracious to us. And this is the third time that we actually have been hosted here. Last time, Harvey, Eileen Rock, and myself attended an event through City Guides at One World Trade Center. And we met Jeremy Willinger, and as soon as he found out we were from Guides Association, and I told him that we had a history with them, we've been there, he said, well, you haven't been there for a while, it's time to come back. So Jeremy and I have been planning this since last July or August, and we are here. So before I introduce him, I want to read a little bit of his bio. So first of all, Jeremy is Director of Marketing at the China Institute, where he oversees the organization's storytelling, PR, social media, and cultural partnership development. He's an experienced marketing leader. Jeremy has worked for a variety of national organizations in education, mental health, and social science spaces. As a native New Yorker and avid concert attendee, he's a cultural aficionado. Jeremy has also led tours for the Municipal Arts Society and Open House New York. So please welcome our host and guest speaker, Jeremy Willinger.
Hi, everyone. So I'll just do a quick overview of China Institute from here, and then I have a little presentation about the Lunar New Year at China Institute that I'll go into a little more detail about. I'll apologize ahead of time just because our AV is a little wonky and we're going to get fixed. So what was supposed to be a visual presentation will just be the talking, but I will send the presentation to the group so you can download it. Welcome to China Institute and happy Lunar New Year. Really happy to see everyone here. And just like Bob said, when I met him at the guide program, I thought this would be a wonderful time to bring you guys back, just because this is a really exciting time at China Institute. So a little bit of history. China Institute was founded in 1926, which is also a tiger year in the lunar calendar. So over 8 cycles ago, we were founded with the mission to educate Americans about China through art and culture and business programs and education. And we do that through a variety of initiatives and pillars. So we have our School of Chinese Studies, which has been around since 1933 and offers courses for kids as young as 18 months in a immersive Mandarin environment to adults with a range of classes of language and poetry and philosophy and music and songs and poetry. So there's so much to discover about China and Chinese culture through our School of Chinese Studies. What I always say is you tell me what you're interested in, and I'll tell you something that China Institute has done to put the lens of China onto it. On the program side, we do over 80 public programs a year. and these are all public and streamed online, and we welcome you to come. We have a lot of wonderful programs that are upcoming, many about Chinese New Year and some others that we're talking about China business and environment and history. And I'll tell you a little more about those coming up. On the art and exhibition side, the China Institute Gallery was opened in 1966. It was the first gallery dedicated to Chinese art in the United States. The gallery here at 40 Rector Street is undergoing some renovation and will open in the fall of this year with a wonderful exhibit of Chinese bronzes from the Minneapolis Museum of Art. So we're very excited to have that. And then in spring 2023, we'll have another exhibit called the Treasures from the Ashokan Stupa, Treasures from Buddha, the Ashokan Stupa, which will show treasures never before seen on the Western Hemisphere here at China Institute. So the gallery actually has put on over 100 exhibitions, bringing art from China, many never before seen, in the States. So a long history there. And then, currently where you are now is China Institute's next step, is our evolution. So we came down to Lower Manhattan 6 years ago from a townhouse on the Upper East Side, which many of you may have visited in the past. It was 5,000 square feet. 9,000 square feet. Here we have 45,000 square feet. And this space is the culmination of many years of planning. It's our multifunction room. Before, when we did programs, it would be out in the gallery foyer. We had to set chairs up. It was very impromptu. Now we have a dedicated space with 3 drop-down screens, an AV system that will work, and space for 200 people. So we're very excited to inaugurate the space and bring people here, not only private groups like you, but certainly, our audience, which has been growing and expanding, year by year. Coming up, we have so many things that I'd like to tell you about. Tomorrow, if you guys are Chinese speakers, you can join our Lunch and Learn, which is a free workshop that we do first Friday of every month, talking about Chinese language and poetry and bringing people together to speak in Mandarin together. We also that's Friday. Tomorrow, we have a Meet the Artist program where we have designer Han Feng, who did the costumes for M. Butterfly, in conversation with Nancy Berliner as a senior curator at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, talking about design and Chinese influence and artistry. So a very interesting topic. Next week, on February 8th, we have our Chinese New Year online variety show, which we'd love to invite you guys to, free and open. A great way to introduce people to China. We will have music performances, dance, and a thrilling Hong Kong refiner drum performance as well. There'll also be a talk about the Chinese zodiac, so we invite you to come to that. The next day, February 9th, we have a business program called The World According to China with Liz Economy. It's her newest book. And then that Friday, February 11th, we have a professional development seminar for teachers, for K-12 educators, all about notable Chinese poetic couplets. So, just a lot of, so you can see in really just a week and a half, the range of programming that we try to offer here. And what I always have, kind of hooked on as a really interesting dynamic of China Institute is that we present always the Chinese side and the US side, and we let people draw their own conclusions. What the best thing that we seek to do is to expose, to engage, and to immerse. And through that, we think providing access and context around China through these soft touch elements of arts and culture and business and education really provides a foundation for bridge building and cross-cultural understanding. And certainly, in this particular time when, there's disinformation and demonization around, connection and conversation are where we need to focus our efforts. And that's what China Institute has done for 96 years. And why I'm so happy to work here and to, play a part in building those bridges. And I think, you guys being ambassadors for the city, you guys being, emissaries for America in a lot of ways, and New York City, you guys are on the front lines, and we are so happy to have you here. And thank you for what you do, both as, again, ambassadors for the city, but also, as people who show the diversity and the culture and the magic of what makes New York such an attractive place for visitors, residents, and tourists alike. So, any questions about China Institute? I'm happy to answer.
Yes, thank you. Can you talk a little bit about the funding of the Institute over the decade?
Sure. And I probably should have mentioned, thank you for that opportunity. We're nonprofit independent. So our funding really is focused from, we get a lot of funding from the city and state. Actually, aside from the Met Museum, China Institute is one of the highest recipients of grants and funding from city and state. So we do a lot of work with the New York City Cultural Affairs Department. We do a lot of work with the state and get funding that way. We have a robust trustee network, and we have our school, our classes, and tutoring, and everything provides most of the funding. I think overall we are less than 2% funded through the Chinese government, and those funds that we receive are specific and designed for very specific initiatives. So nothing that's general, and we certainly love our independent and nonprofit orientation, which we have been since founding. I hope that answers your question.
Sorry, question. How does the Institute differ from the Chinese Museum in its philosophy, in its program? Give us some idea.
Sure, thank you. So one of the main differences between MoCA and the Asia Society and China Institute is MoCA is really focused on the Chinese American experience and the experience of Chinese in America as a whole. Asia Society certainly a little broader, but covers all of Asia, so they're pan-Asia. China Institute really, I think, differentiates ourselves through not only the arts and culture and business environment, but also the bringing together of China and US perspectives, and to really provide an on-the-ground look at what's happening in China, and to show people that there are initiatives and programs and things happening that are beyond the headlines, that aren't reported, that are compelling, and that paint a different picture of China than I think how Americans and folks in the Western countries really receive information. So where we have always had success in is doing these types of programs that bring people in to talk about, let's say, environmentalism or feminism or conservation or preservation. Things that I think are universal, things that contribute to a shared future, and knowledge that I think enhances understanding about China, but in a way that doesn't propagandize it and doesn't have an agenda for it.
I appreciate what you've just said to kind of help me decide whether to ask this question, because I realize I'm courting controversy slightly. My sister-in-law is from Urumqi, and as one of the Uyghur people, is likely to have a slightly different view of mainstream Chinese culture than many. How do you approach controversial topics, and especially when visitors come and address them? You said something very interesting earlier about the American side and the Chinese side and letting people make their own decisions. What about when there is no American side? What when it's much more internal?
Well, that's a fascinating question. I mean, I think one area that China Institute really excels at is we're decidedly non-political. And so we don't touch the politics. We don't touch issues between Trump and Xi. We don't do that. Because our goal is to really turn people on to China through more of a, like I said, a soft touch for more of the the arts and the creative side. And we look to find areas where there is that balance where people can have an American perspective on it. So when we're talking about, let's say, feminism in China, we can bring an American in to talk about, a Chinese American feminist to talk about, her perspective and growing up and then coming here. But then we'll also have, let's say, a gender studies professor from China, from a Chinese university, who can add in that, historical context. So I think for us, we're a little bit insulated from that because it's something that, due to our apolitical, independent, nonprofit nature, is a little bit outside our purview. That being said, look, these are topics that are universal concern, and we don't deny that things are happening. But thankfully for us, that doesn't really come up as much, just because we really curate what we're talking about in a way that is very approachable for a wide audience. But I don't think we shy away from that, but it's just not something that is necessarily in our mission statement. We did stuff on anti-Asian hate. It's very popular. We're going to have over 800 people registered last year. But when we're really talking about China, it's more, how does Confucius influence China today? What's AI going? How's AI going to shape China? So we're bringing who's the best science fiction writer? How is that going to be turned into a Netflix special? So we have Shishin coming wrote the three-body problem. We have a series of Chinese movies, so we have a Seeing China Through Film, which is the best films of the 20th century. So there's a lot of ways to learn about Chinese history and to engage. The main kind of zeitgeisty politics stuff is a little beyond us, and we try, it's just beyond us.
Understood. Thank you very much.
Please.
You might have answered this already, but so is there an interaction between the China Institute and the New York Chinese community at large? I mean, like, I don't know, like, where would we see the China Institute in the Chinatowns around New York? Just curious, or kind of like how does that work?
Sure. Well, short answer, you probably wouldn't.
Okay.
And there's a reason for that. So we try to really, our audience is really cultivated and has been, and is more of it's a blended audience. It's a lot of ABCs, American born Chinese, expats who come in, and blended families. So the Chinatown audience is very well taken care of through a lot of other organizations. And we work closely with the Chinatown Partnership and, love exchanging, resources and whatnot. And there was some efforts around, during the beginning of COVID to help restaurants, but they have such a robust network that we cultivated a little bit more of a different audience. Again, not to say that we're not, interested, and there's a lot to discover there, but our audience and our topics are a little more academic, a little more elevated than a little more the traditional kind of Chinese in Chinatown in that kind of environment. Please. Well, no, actually, I speak no Chinese, and I've actually never been to China. But as Bob was saying, my background really is in cultural marketing, and so where I've had my career, my success is in elevating organizations, with a variety of missions, whether that's suicide prevention or social science or conservative Judaism. Right. My background is more in helping organizations rise to greater prominence and have a more build an awareness of folks in the city and to increase their PR and followership. And so on that side, we've been very successful. And I think one of the ways that we've done that is through partnership outreach and working with groups like yours, to identify folks who can be ambassadors and who can be a storyteller, but also who, anybody who takes a class here, anybody who comes to a program, anybody who goes to an exhibition, I always think that when someone comes to China Institute, they get it, right? It crystallizes. I think the challenge though is getting people here. That's where we've, looked to channel some more of our efforts.
So as a new Chinese immigrant that would not come here, let's say you have questions about medical care.
That's less so. That would be more immigrant services. Yeah, yes, that would be more kind of, I think, more service oriented. I think if you were, if you are, let's say, a family living in Battery Park, China Institute, because we do family work, we do family programs, we have after school programs, we go to buildings around here and, do Chinese New Year and private, workshops, work in schools, teaching Chinese teachers and doing our Discover China Through Art program with school groups. And we all live in the Forbidden City, which is a series of books that we also have a program for. So, we like being in the community, but we are more in the kind of connecting in the administrative side through schools, through, kind of building relationships, a little less so through like kind of Chinatown restaurants and those elements. But again, I think that's an opportunity that we may want to look at. But it's just, with our capacity, we kind of focus on whether, what we want to get the most juice out of the squeeze. Let's say. Sure. I can also just say that, working here has been wonderfully educational for me, just because, I get exposed to so much, and, coming in as somebody who knew very little about China, there really is such a wealth of information. It's 5,000 years of history. There's so much going on in China today, and so much of what's going on today is informed by what went on yesterday. And so it's this really interesting duality and dynamic of understanding history to understand the future. And, China's a real complex and dense place with a lot to discover. And so I think China Institute really does a nice job in segmenting and, identifying areas that, a lot of different people can connect with, and really build their own personal, connections to China and Chinese culture. So if there aren't any, necessarily further questions about China Institute, which I'm certainly happy to answer, I'm going to jump over to here, and then I can tell you a little bit about Chinese New Year and about, some of the traditions behind it, why we celebrate in certain ways, why red is so popular, and then I will turn it over back to the group here, and thank you all for coming. So 1 second, let me just turn this on. Oh, thank you so much. So this is actually, while I load this, I will tell you about China Institute's plan for the next year. So right now you are on our 2nd floor, and we have the whole floor. We've been up here, like I said, we've been in Lower Manhattan for 6 years, excuse me, 6 years. And we just finished building out our 2nd floor. So this space is now completely finished, except for some small decorations and little things. We'll have a movement classroom down the hall where we teach Tai Chi and dance, and we'll be expanding that. We have another classroom down the hall which expands for younger learners because we're opening up preschool in the fall. And downstairs on the 1st floor, hopefully at the end of the year, downstairs on our 1st floor, hopefully at the end of the year, we will open up our Center for Contemporary China. This will be on Washington Street. It's actually just below us right here. And that will have 6,000 square feet of open space with a professional kitchen from GE Hire, where we will be able to have pop-up restaurants. We'll offer cooking classes once again, and we'll be able to live stream programs and cooking demonstrations. So that's super exciting, and that's scheduled to open. We're thinking maybe later this year, but in all honesty, probably next year. But we're really looking forward to having that be a community hub, because there will be eventual plans for a tea house and more community gathering space. So what we really hope to do is make China Institute a place that people can, kind of hang out, and it could be a community center in a little more of a pronounced way. On the 2nd floor, we're a little bit removed from the streetscape, but this new construction and opening will allow us to have much more of a presence in Lower Manhattan in a much more visual way. So, okay, let me tell you a little bit about China Institute, how Chinese New Year, because Chinese New Year is the most important holiday in all of China, and there's a reason for that. Because it's the most well-known and celebrated. This next thing. Because it's the most popular and celebrated holiday in China, it creates an opportunity that everybody can it creates an opportunity that everybody can use to learn more about China. Public schools are closed now in the city for Lunar New Year. And we see thousands of people coming out for the Chinatown parade and for Lunar New Year workshops and teachings that we see all over the city now that previously were really limited in scope. So it's been wonderful to see. For the Chinese, the celebration of Chinese Lunar New Year, which is also called the Spring Festival, really means a procession of rituals. It is a prescribed set of plans and activities and gestures that really culminate into the overall celebration. So the Chinese New Year celebration lasts 15 days. Yesterday was the first day, and on the 15th day, the last day of the Chinese New Year festival is called the Lantern Festival. So that's where you see a lot of the lanterns being launched and used. The Chinese New Year is really about sending off the old year, and it's a time for self-reflection. So this is a lot of time where people really take stock of themselves, of where they are, what they want for the new year, the blessings they want to confer, the blessings they want to receive, and as an opportunity to get their house in order, literally and otherwise. Because prepping for Chinese New Year, first and foremost, means cleaning the house top to bottom. Because it's really about getting rid of the old things and creating a new open space and mindset for receiving New Year's blessings. So you get the house in order with thorough cleaning. You get new clothing ready, preferably red. You get a haircut. You settle all your debts. You try to settle all your disputes if they're any outstanding. You buy firecrackers because that's an integral part. And again, you really want to start to think about wearing red because red wards off demons and evil spirits. That's why red is so popular. So the history of Chinese New Year really starts, like many holidays, from an agrarian culture, in which people's behavior is largely defined by the season and the weather. So despite Chinese New Year being in the winter time, it's still called the Spring Festival because it's the time of year when farmers could have a break because the crops are harvested and it's too cold to plant and start. So it's the perfect time to strengthen the bond with family and friends in the larger community. And the procession of the Chinese New Year celebration is actually in that order: family, friends, the larger community. And after the Lantern Festival, after the 15th day, the celebration is over. So everything goes back to normal. But hopefully you do that with a refreshed mindset, a refreshed sense of self, the family, and the world around you. So Chinese New Year really is a mental reset in a lot of ways. And this year is the year of the tiger. The calendar itself is based on lunar cycles. So you have 12 years in one cycle, in one lunar cycle. And each year is assigned an animal. And each animal has different attributes. And the animal order is determined by how the animals lined up in a story to receive blessings. So for the tiger, if you were born, well, this year, not so much here, but if you're born in 1986, 1974, 1962, you're a tiger, which means you're vigorous and ambitious, you're daring and courageous, you're enthusiastic and generous, and you're self-confident with a sense of justice and commitment to help others. You're also rebellious and hard to handle. But the lunar cycle really does, it's interestingly define how, the different trees that you may take on. So it starts with the rat, it goes to the ox, tiger, which we're in now, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, pig. None are necessarily better or worse than another. It's just the order and the year you were born. Now, food is also a super integral part of Chinese New Year. We eat jiaozi, which are dumplings, and you exchange them at midnight. And you reserve food for the moment when the last hour of the old year meets the first hour of the new, to connect the old and the new. You also eat rice cakes, and they're pronounced miang gao. Now that phonetic also means you grow taller every year. So that's when you eat rice cakes, it's a wish that you're for growth every year. You also do blessings and greetings. You say things like "Gong Xi Fa Cai," which means I wish you earn a lot of money, basically to enlarge your wealth. Or you could say "Pei Jia An Kan," which means wish your families are all in good health. So really, the Chinese New Year is about passing on blessings of prosperity and largesse, but also health. So those are really like the two main kind of greetings. And traditionally, you hand out red envelopes because, and actually only unmarried, I believe, married folks are supposed to hand out red envelopes, because what you do is you hand them to your kids, and traditionally they're gifts for kids, you put a little money in them. But the actual money is not the gift, the red envelope is actually the gift, because the red envelope signifies prosperity and long-term health. So what you're really doing is you're giving a gift of and a wish of long-term health and prosperity when you do the red envelopes. And should you want to learn a little bit more about Chinese New Year, again, we have wonderful upcoming programs, and I'll just say again, next week, February 8th, our New Year variety show. What a great way to experience music and dance and philosophy and zodiac knowledge with a fun live talk. So we really hope you'll come. And again, the next day, World Report in China. So all about, what is Xi Jinping's ambitions? How is he remaking the governance system, the international governance system? And what will that mean for the US in the future? And then again, we'd love to invite you to, our classes and other opportunities. We'll have a program on China to the Caribbean later in the month. We have a whole series on art, ritual, and religion on Buddha and Buddhist art that's coming up in March. So just a lot of exciting things and ways for you to discover China, through the prism of, our pillars of art, culture, business, and education. So that's kind of my overview. I hope that was helpful in kind of explaining, a little bit about Chinese New Year and why it's so important. Really the firecrackers and all of the loud noises, those are all to scare away evil spirits. So it's really just about, embracing the change, refreshing your mind, connecting with people, community and family, and really going forth in the new year in a positive way. And I think that that's a nice metaphor for the group that we have here. And as we reopen the city and as more people come back, you know, I think you guys are have such an important role to play. And I think as, you know, as China and the US are, you know, continue to be the two most important countries in the world, China Institute has an important role to play. And we look forward to being a hub of knowledge and connection and understanding for you and for the people of New York City. So love to help answer any other questions you have. Happy to kind of talk through anything you may want to talk through. I'll jump up and answer anything else, and then I'll turn it back over. Yes, please.
Hi, do you have an email newsletter that you send out with all this
Sure do.
information?
Yes, we have our monthly e-news. Our database is very strong. Actually, email is the best way that we have to talk with our audience. They're very responsive. So what I would recommend is going to chinainstitute.org. You can sign up to our message right there, or if you want, you can just send me an email. That's very fine. My email is jwillinger, WILLINGER, Jeremy Willinger, jwillinger @chinainstitute.org. I will put you on our mailing list, and you can tell me what you're interested in, because we have different lists for business and arts and culture, you know, education, and whatever you need. But we'll make sure you guys are on the our e-news list, which has all of our monthly programs, classes, and exhibitions. Yes.
So what's in the year of the monkey?
What years of the year of the monkey?
No, what's the year of
Oh.
the monkey?
What are the characteristics? My Chinese zodiac knowledge is a little less refined than my general knowledge, but I would recommend you come to the variety show where we will talk about the zodiac. But my understanding is that the monkey is a very clever animal, it's a very crafty and clever animal, very intelligent, very social, and a little mischievous. And then I'll come to you. Sorry, I'll come to you.
Sorry, Derek, would you be able to send an email over to Bob with just what you talked about
Yes,
for
I'll-
New Year's, and then we can include it on the video with a PDF kind of a.
Absolutely, and I'm
That would be
sorry,
great.
our the V part, the AV wasn't
Thank you very
so
much.
responsive, but yes, I'm happy to share. Yes, please.
Some of us were born under the sun of the tiger. What is that offering us this year? What are we in for?
One more time.
The tiger, the year of the tiger.
Well, so tiger years are actually supposed to be a good year. My understanding is that this year, well, also depends on how, on the other side, you might, if you're related to something else, but generally for this year, it looks pretty good. And it looks promising. And for a tiger, you should be approaching it with enthusiasm and a lot of excitement and maybe some claws. Are there any other questions that I might be able to answer about China Institute, Chinese holidays, culture, practice, future plans? Again, we have our next exhibition in fall 2022, bronzes from Minneapolis Museum of Art. We're very excited. And we'll certainly have a preview day for you know, folks in the museum space, and you know, I'd love to have you guys here to preview the exhibit and see it first, you know, and really be able to share that with you. So, you know, you can totally recommend, you know, and see exactly what we're offering. Yes, please.
Hi, these dragon heads are beautiful. Can you talk about them?
Sure.
Where they're made, where they fit into the culture?
Sure. Well, so these are more lion heads, and these are used for lion dances, which really welcome in the new year. And if you've ever seen a lion dance, it's accompanied by Chinese drums. It's a really nice way to kick. We usually use to kick off a festivity. And what you do is to gain blessings, you feed the lion cabbage. So you take a lettuce leaf and you feed it to them, because to do so means that you will be also rewarded. It's like you're feeding the lion money, and you get more back.
Are they made in a specific factory?
You know, that I don't know. We've had these for quite some time, but I believe they're made all over. You know, we have a number around, but these have just been part of the China Institute collection. I don't think they're not historic. They're not, you know, I don't think they're particularly valuable, and you know, not more so than any other.
Is it made like plastic or something?
No, I think these are mostly cardboard and like paper mache and fur and what's the fabric? Yeah, it's like a silk wrap. Yeah, well, it's fascinating because people will wear these, and so it's designed to be put over the head, and then the back part of the lion, usually, you have like 2 or 3 people, and then they'll like, then they go up and they go down, and if you've ever seen a lion dance, you've seen one lion dance, you've seen a lot of the traditional movements in them. But usually whenever we have our Chinese New Year Family Festival, we open it with the lion dance, especially the in-person one. Our Chinese New Year Gala, which we're skipping this year, but any sort of significant thing around Chinese New Year, you'll always see a lion dance. Sure. I think, really, everything is designed to scare all the evil spirits. I mean, the lion comes out, it's to scare away the demons, that's the whole thing, is to banish the negative influences involved in the positive.
They don't sound specifically historic, but I'm hoping maybe you could help. There's a story which may or may not be true. It's said to be true, but maybe not. Supposedly, in 1896, chopped seaweed was invented here. Can you weigh in if that's true or not true?
My understanding is that it was. I think it was a US, and specifically a New York City thing that was that came out when the Chinese have always had a really important and significant presence in New York City, certainly in the country, but really in New York City, and the Chinatown food scene is, it's interesting because Chinese food, American Chinese food is very different from Chinese food. And so if you travel to China, you go to more, kind of, I guess, I'll use the word authentic, but that's not quite the right word, but you know what I mean. You go, it tastes spicier, and there's different flavors, there's different ingredients, it's not as sweet. And you see that there's a lot of variety in the regional delicacies. We did a whole series called The Taste of China, where we live streamed and went to different areas in China and talked about different ingredients and spices and things, and that's all online if you want to see that. But it was a fascinating exploration for me because I didn't know a lot of this stuff, and then to kind of to see how traditional dishes are made, and then to know what the American counterparts kind of look like and probably taste like, you see that there's a very big gulf between our palates and then what traditional Chinese food really actually tastes like. But to your point, chop suey, General Tso's chicken, these are American dishes. Okay, well, without any further ado, I will say happy Chinese New Year to all of you for coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you so very much. Thank you. All right, so yeah, I hope that everybody enjoyed that. It's so fascinating. I made sure to wear red for tonight's meeting. And as Jeremy said, we will get a copy of his PowerPoint presentation, and that will be shared with the membership, so we can all see that. Unfortunately, there were some issues with the audio visual. So we're going to go to our committee reports right now. And so we'll start off with Matt Baker and the awards committee report.
Thank you, Emma. I'm Matt Baker. I am a tiger. And I've got to say this, just so we can all get it out of our system, that right now, Jeremy Wilcox and Michael Dillinger are really digging that our host is Jeremy Willinger. It's just too cool for words. So enough of that, on to the awards. We're almost there, guys. The 21st, we're less than 3 weeks away. The tickets are now on sale. It took us a little long this year to get them on sale, but they are on sale. Everyone should have received an email from Jeremy Wilcox about them. I'm going to have him send it again within the next 24 hours. It has also been posted on a lot of the GANYC and general tourism social media. Remember that a pretty good portion of our audience is outside of GANYC as well. The awards have always been an outreach program, not an insular one. So it is very important that anyone who wants to publicize the awards and say, hey, by the way, my organization is doing this wonderful thing, be sure to mention it to people outside of the organization. Last year, we had the president of WFTJ present, so I wanted to make sure that lots of people from that community have the info. to ensure that your ticket does not get lost deep down in your email chain, we will be sending the link to the webcast the 19th of February, 2 days before the awards, rather than the second you buy them. You'll get a little confirmation email, but you'll actually get the link a couple days early, just so you're like, where did I put that? You know, we've all been there. I've been there. So I want you all to know that that will be happening. Our presenter recordings have been coming along quite swimmingly. Corey Schneider of Venture Club is presenting the website award. He recorded with me the other day. It was very dashing. Annie Fitzsimmons, who writes for National Geographic, is doing the Journalism Award. I recorded with Edwige Danticat, the Haitian American novelist, who was the second youngest inductee ever into the New York State Writers Hall of Fame. She's doing fiction. And I'm forgetting one person. Oh, yes. Thank you, Emma, for connecting me to the owners of Veniero's, the wonderful Italian bakery in the East Village. Frank and Robert Zarrilli did a very fun and very funny recording to present food. So that is coming along quite swimmingly. We have our the Gilbert Award for Guiding Spirit honoree with us tonight, Harvey Davidson, who was just asking me, you know, am I going to be recording soon? And I promised him, yes, absolutely. We are working on that as we speak. But we are still having one very difficult time in one category. We have no one to present in the category of preservation. Deborah has been a hero knocking down the door of the folks at City Lore, with whom we've had a great relationship, but this year we've just not been hearing back from them. So if anyone knows anyone who you think would be really appropriate preservation presenter, please let me know ASAP. We are all brainstorming and we need the help. So email me awards@GANYC.org and let me know, hey, I know someone in the world of preservation who would be a good friend to GANYC, who would be really cool for presenting this. You know, obviously, this, you know, we've had Simeon Bancroft already. He's wonderful, but he's done it, or I would have gone to him right away. You know, if anyone comes into your mind, ask me. The worst thing that can happen is that they won't be available or we won't be able to make it work. That is all I have. So I want to say, shishki.
Thanks so much, Matt. Thank you very much. So our next committee to present will be education, and we've got Bob Gilbert to do that.
Okay, so on behalf of Education Committee Chair Nina Mende, I'm reading a report. First of all, happy Lunar New Year. And we have coming up in March a date to be determined, Women's History Virtual Group FAM, organized by Lisa Puccio. The notice received robust response and 7 slots were filled up immediately. So anyone who submitted a virtual FAM after the slots were filled, you are more than welcome to offer an in-person or an uncondensed virtual on your own during the month of March. We would welcome it. We would welcome anyone offering anything. And the next education Zoom meeting is going to be Wednesday, February 16th at 6 p.m. And I want to thank Lee Hallingby and her moderator, Jeremy Wilcox. Lee gave an insightful Martin Luther King Memorial Fan on January 17th. And also I did one for the Woolworth Building, finally, on January 26th. And I want to thank my moderator, Lisa Puccio. So that is it for now. Keep in touch and give us your talent.
And just a reminder, if anyone wants to do a FAM tour, there is the link and the form to fill out to do a FAM tour is on the GANYC website. So you just need to go to, you have to log in, of course, and then you go under documents and the announcements and documents, and you'll see a sticky, it'll be right there, and as you fill that in for the GANYC for FAM tours. And it's just it's a Google form. It's very straightforward. And that's really the only way the education committee can do that. So please don't email education and just say, hey, I want to give a fan. I'm like, cool, that's nice. Fill in the form. So that's just how you have to do it. All right. So you fill in the form, and you know, we welcome fam tours, virtual fam tours, and of course live fam tours when it's nice. Everybody wants to go outside. It's a great way to practice a tour, something that you've been working on, has been percolating in your mind over these cold months. So please do a fan tour. So we don't have an official report from membership, but I do want to let you all know that we're now at 286 renewed members, which is fantastic. So 286 people renewed. If you haven't renewed, please renew. All right, you need to renew to attend the meetings in person. All right, you need to renew to participate fully and to be able to go onto the website, see our digital library, all of that. So please, if you haven't renewed, please make sure you do so. You can also still sign up for the GANYC insurance. Jeremy sent out an email about that, and there's sort of a quarterly list that goes out, but insurance, you can still sign up for that throughout the year. Membership dues, $125, insurance, $95, okay? So Dave.
And renewing also means refreshing your subscription to the newsletter.
Yes, when you renew, you refresh your subscription to the newsletter, to guidelines, which you don't want to miss. And of course, if you ever have something cool to write for the newsletter, you can always send that to Dave, just to the newsletter at GANYC.org. So I don't think we have any new business, anything new from the floor. Yes, Tony.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, how's the party selling?
That's right. We have, I don't know because I don't have the tickets. Yes, of course, we have the party, all right, the GANYC post-holiday delayed COVID party will be taking place on February 22nd, all right, February 22nd at Fogo de Chao, right on 53rd Street. So 53rd, sort of catty corner from MoMA. So February 22nd, so we can all celebrate the awards ceremony, the post-awards ceremony. Matt will come in looking very bleary.
Sadly, I will not be able to go to the party. I'm going out of town the morning after the awards.
So Matt is leaving town the morning after the awards. I think that's a sign. All right. So yeah, well, you will deserve a break, but we will raise a glass or two or three to you. So yes, the party is at Fogo de Chao on February 22nd. You'll get more details about that and more information about that. It's going to be really a lot of fun. So just remember, if you want to attend the WFTJ anything virtual or the hybrid conference, February 4th is the deadline to do that. Yeah, Mike.
Can we write, or if I could write a check tonight for the party, can I do it?
No, I don't think we're taking anything for that right now. Everything's being processed online. Everything is being processed online. So you want to contact Jeremy. There's a question about paying for the party. Contact Jeremy Wilcox about that. Okay. All right. So anything else? All right. Do I have AJ? Motion to adjourn. Seconded. Okay. All right, everybody. I brought it. I'm going to use it. Wait. There. Meeting's adjourned. Happy New Chinese New Year. Happy New Year. Yeah, Stan has beautiful calendars that he makes. They're here available if anyone would like one. He's got these gorgeous calendars with these wonderful, wonderful photographs. Okay.
I thought